If you have difficulties in listening, you're not alone. This is one of the most common problems for English learners. It's frustrating and embarrassing when you can't understand spoken English, but in this lesson, I'm going to explain why it's so difficult and teach you how to improve. Listening to English and successfully understanding it is difficult for 3 reasons. First, many English words are pronounced differently from their written form. We have words with silent letters, like thought, island, and muscle. Also, many letters can be pronounced in different ways, like the A in apple, father, and game. Second, when native speakers talk fast, we link the words together. Native speakers often connect the words when speaking fast. We don't pronounce every individual word clearly. So, the question, "How are you feeling today?" sounds like, "How are you feeling today?" "I'm going to have lunch" sounds like, "I'm gonna have lunch." This linking happens in all spoken English sentences, and it's one big reason that it's so difficult to understand. Finally, too little practice. Most students read too much and don't listen to enough English. But remember that babies and young children learn English by listening first and reading later. So English listening practice is essential. Okay, now that you know why listening is difficult, here is how to improve it. There are 2 ways: practicing every day and practicing the right way. Tip number 1 is to practice every day. Create the habit of listening to English for 15 minutes daily. Even if you're busy and you don't have much time, you can listen while driving to work or school, taking public transportation, exercising, or doing housework. Now, what should you listen to? Here are 3 sites with great audio and accompanying text. VOA Special English for American English News, for British English News and Lifestyle, and elo.org for dialogues and conversations in many different accents of English. Tip number 2 is to practice the right way. What does this mean? Well, there is a right way and a wrong way to practice English listening. The wrong way to do English listening practice is to try to listen once, you don't understand every word and you get frustrated, so you give up and stop practicing after the first try. To do English listening practice the right way, the first step is to relax and know that it's completely normal to have limited understanding the first time you listen. You need to listen at least 3 times. Listen the first time for the general topics. Don't try to understand every word, just try to understand the main ideas. Listen again and now try to understand some more specific details. Again, remember that it's okay not to catch every word. Listen the 3rd time while reading the transcript, the text. Now you can pay attention to the individual words and see if your previous understanding was correct. This type of listening, from more general to more specific, is the most effective way to practice and improve your English listening ability. Your action item for today is to try it. Go to one of the websites linked under this video and listen to one program 3 times. If you practice English listening every day for 15 minutes and you practice the right way, listening 3 times to the same audio from general to specific, your understanding of spoken English is guaranteed to improve fast. In this lesson, you'll learn why pronunciation is important, you'll practice some difficult words, and I'll also give you an important tip on how to speak more like a native. Consider this. If you are a beginner and you have a small vocabulary, but you have great pronunciation, then you can communicate simply but successfully. On the other hand, if you have advanced grammar and vocabulary, but your pronunciation is bad, then other people won't understand a single word you say. That's why good pronunciation is essential for speaking fluent English. Improving your pronunciation also increases your confidence, because you know that whenever you speak, other people will understand you. The key to improving your pronunciation in English is lots of repetition and practice. Just like physical exercise makes your body stronger, pronunciation practice trains your mouth to speak English correctly. Let's practice right now. Here are some words with similar sounds, which are difficult for many English learners to pronounce. Listen to each word and repeat it. It, eat, share, chair, wait, wet, bad, bed, ice, eyes, right, light, free, 3, they, day. For more practice, you can click the links to pronunciation lessons under the video, but I want to finish this lesson with a tip for speaking English like a native. You probably already know that individual English words have stress. For example, the word English has the stress on the first syllable, ing. The word improve has the stress on the second syllable, prove. In natural spoken English, complete sentences also have stress. Let me show you an example. Listen to this sentence and try to identify the strong words. On Saturday, he went to a dance party on the beach with a few friends. The stress is on the words Saturday, went, dance, party, beach, and friends. On Saturday, he went to a dance party on the beach with a few friends. This is the general rule for strong and weak words in English sentences. Strong words include nouns, main verbs, adjectives, adverbs, and negatives like don't, didn't, can't, won't, and never. Weak words include pronouns, forms of the verb to be, prepositions, articles, auxiliary verbs, and conjunctions. One way to think of it is that the strong words have the main content or message of the sentence, and the weak words are usually linking or helping words. Every time you speak English, emphasize the strong, important words. This will make the rhythm of your spoken English sound more natural, and you'll be speaking English more like a native speaker. Your action item for today is to take one of the additional pronunciation lessons in the links under this video. If you have time, take them all. Did you know that vocabulary is more important than grammar? If you have good vocabulary, you can communicate successfully, even if the grammar is not completely perfect. However, one common problem is learning new words and then forgetting them. So when you want to use a particular word in conversation, you can't remember it at that moment. How annoying! Does this ever happen to you? The reason for this difficulty is that most students try to learn vocabulary by studying lists and dictionaries and memorizing the words. But this is not effective unless you naturally have a very good memory. The best way to learn vocabulary and remember the words successfully is to learn new words and use them immediately. You can do this with a very simple exercise. Every time you learn a new word, for example, from an English lesson or an article, write it down in your vocabulary notebook. Writing is more active than just reading a definition. You should write the word, the definition in English or translation, one example sentence from the article or dictionary, and one example sentence that you create. Imagine you just learned the word generous. Write in your vocabulary notebook, generous, adjective. Definition: when a person gives time or money freely. Example 1 from the article. Thanks for paying for my dinner. You're very generous. Example 2. My example. My brother is generous because he volunteers at the animal shelter on weekends. It's best if your example sentence is true or relevant to your life, because this creates a personal connection with the new vocabulary word. The next day, read your vocabulary notebook again and try to add one more example sentence using the new word. This helps establish it even better in your memory. These two simple steps, writing the word and using it immediately, help your brain remember and help you use new words. Do you have a vocabulary notebook? If not, start one today. Your action item for today is to read a text in English, identify 5 new words, and do this exercise. Write the word and its definition and use it immediately in an example sentence. This is a very simple strategy, but it makes a big difference in helping you remember new words and improve your vocabulary faster. Do you ever feel shy and nervous to speak English? Are you afraid of making errors when you speak? This problem is especially dangerous. If you feel nervous, then you don't practice speaking. If you don't practice speaking, you won't develop confidence, and no confidence means you feel even more nervous. The result is that you can read, write, and listen to English, but you can't speak. What's the solution? Practice speaking frequently in low-pressure situations. What's a low-pressure situation? It's an opportunity to practice your English in a relaxed way, where you can make mistakes and get them corrected without any negative consequences. Examples of high-pressure situations are oral exams, job interviews and telephone calls, and official meetings and presentations. Examples of low-pressure situations that are perfect for practicing include talking to yourself, "It seems ridiculous, but it works," and talking with an English-speaking friend. What if you don't have any English-speaking friends? Well, you can find an English conversation partner online if you join a conversation exchange. On these websites, you can find an English speaker who is studying your native language. During the practice, you and your partner speak English half the time and speak in your native language half the time. You can help each other and correct any errors. Visit the Conversation Exchange websites under this video to find an English-speaking partner. When you do more speaking practice in low-pressure situations, you increase your confidence. When you increase your confidence, you feel less nervous. And this makes you want to practice speaking even more. The result is that you're confident to speak English in any situation. Now let's talk about how to avoid common English errors. Although your conversation partner can help correct your mistakes, one of the fastest ways to increase your confidence and improve your speaking is to learn the most common errors in English. The ebook 100 Common Errors in English gives examples and explanations of the most common mistakes that English learners make when speaking and writing. These errors are made by students from beginners to advanced learners, so you are sure to benefit from this book no matter what your level. If you know how to avoid the most common errors in English, you can speak more confidently without being afraid of making a mistake. Your action item for today is to download a free sample of the book 100 Common Errors in English and read it. If you like the sample, you can buy the complete ebook for $15. If you have difficulties in listening, you're not alone. This is one of the most common problems for English learners. It's frustrating and embarrassing when you can't understand spoken English, but in this lesson, I'm going to explain why it's so difficult and teach you how to improve. Listening to English and successfully understanding it is so difficult to understand. Finally, too little practice. Most students read too much and don't listen to enough English. But remember that babies and young children learn English by listening first and reading later. So English listening practice is essential. Okay, now that you know why listening is difficult, here is how to improve it. There are 2 ways, for 3 reasons. First, many English words are pronounced differently from their written form. We have words with silent letters, like thought, island, and muscle. Also, many letters can be pronounced in different ways, like the A in apple, father, and game. Second, when native speakers talk fast, we link the words together, practicing every day and practicing the right way. Tip number 1 is to practice every day. Create the habit of listening to English for 15 minutes daily. Even if you're busy and you don't have much time, You can listen while driving to work or school, taking public transportation, exercising, or doing housework. Now, what should you listen to? Here are three. Native speakers often connect the words when speaking fast. We don't pronounce every individual word clearly. So, the question, "How are you feeling today?" sounds like, "How are you feeling today?" "I'm going to have lunch" sounds like, "I'm going to have lunch." This linking happens in all spoken English sentences, and it's one big reason that it's